vegan sheet pan tacos. Baby, let's get into it. Welcome back to another video. We are going to start off by making our meat substitute and hopping right on in. So I'm going to be using about 4 tablespoons of coconut aminos, 2 tablespoons of avocado oil, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, and an entire taco packet. Now if you want to make your taco seasoning from scratch, you can definitely do that, but I will do that later on in the video. But for this, I'll be using a taco packet. Once the paste is mixed up, we're going to go ahead and add our soy-free tofu. I will be using 2 blocks of this for this recipe. Once both blocks are crumbled up into the paste, we're going to go ahead and give this a nice little mix. The same thing I always do, y'all, on my tacos. If you have ever seen me make tacos before, but just give it a nice little mix. Make sure everything is broken down really good, and give it a nice little mix, and make sure that that paste is all over the tofu. Once everything is all mixed together, we're going to put this onto a baking sheet and pop this into the oven. Now, once you put this on the baking sheet, you want to make sure that you spread it out so it does not stick close together. So we want to dry out some of that water. But anyway, you want to pop this in the oven on 400 until it's nice and crispy for about 30 minutes. Next, we're going to go ahead and cut up our vegetables. So I am going to be using a half of a red bell pepper, a half of a green bell pepper, and also 1 whole yellow onion. Child, if your baby anything like mine, you want to make sure that you chopping these up really small. It's definitely up to you. You know, if you don't have any kids eating, then, you know, do you, baby. But for my baby, I do chop my vegetables really small. In a skillet, we're going to add some avocado oil, and then we're going to go ahead and cook down our bell peppers and onions. Now you want to cook these until they are nice and translucent and soft, and then we're going to go in and add about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic and allow that to cook down as well. Next, we're gonna add a can of washed black beans and a can of washed corn. I just like to rinse mine. You don't have to do that. But this is where I actually made my homemade taco seasoning. So I'm using 1 tablespoon of chili powder, some cumin, some paprika, garlic and onion powder, and also some salt and pepper. I'm also going to be using some oregano as well, y'all. This sauce was so bad. But if you need the measurements for this, it'll definitely be linked down in the description. Once you add all of those ingredients, you want to go ahead and give this a nice little mix and let it cook on simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. Next, in another skillet, I'm going to be adding some avocado oil, and I like to cook my taco meat, aka tofu, down. So once it comes out of the oven, this is how it looks, very nice and crispy. So I just added to some avocado oil. I'm also going to add another Taco Bell seasoning pack. You can do your homemade seasoning, whatever you like to use, and then about a tablespoon of water. Give that a nice little mix and let it kind of cook down for about 2 to 5 minutes. Next, in a pot, I'm going to be adding about a cup of plant milk, 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast, and some cheese, and we're going to let that cook down for our cheese sauce. Next, I'm going to be cutting up the veggies that are going to be going on top. I am going to be using some red onions and some tomatoes. Of course, you can use whatever toppings you like, but I like to chop those up very, very small as well, and then we're going to dice the tomatoes. We're going to cut up our chips or tortillas. So I am just using some basic tortillas, some flour tortillas, and I'm just cutting them into some little chip shapes. We're going to actually fry these in some avocado oil on both sides until they are nice and golden brown. Once our chips are all fried up, we're gonna add everything on the pan together, honey. So we're gonna put the chips down first, then we're gonna add our vegan taco meat on top. And make sure to get this all over the pan, of course, all over the tortillas or the chips, whatever you wanna call it. We're then gonna add the bean and corn mixture on top of that as well. Then we're gonna add the cheese mixture. And I'm actually gonna be adding some more shredded cheese, which you'll see in a minute. And then we're gonna pop it in the oven for about 2 to 3 minutes and let that cheese melt. Once it comes out of the oven, we're gonna go ahead and add the rest of our toppings, which I will be adding some lettuce. You wanna make sure that you're, again, covering the whole pan because that's the whole point of the pan tacos, okay? So we're gonna be adding some lettuce. I'm also gonna be adding the tomatoes that I chopped up and also the red onions. I'm also going to be adding some avocado. Of course, you can make some guac. Use whatever you like, whatever you decide. But I decided not to make guac. I just decided to do just the raw avocados themselves. I'm also going to be adding some cilantro. Make sure to spread that out and chop it up very, very nice. Of course, it is cleaned as well. And then I'm also going to be adding some vegan sour cream. And then I'm going to top it off with some Taco Bell sauce, the mild sauce. Of course, you can use hot chow, but you know, my baby eating it, so we're gonna be using the mild sauce and spread that all over. And then, baby, that's what you got. You know what I'm saying? And this was so bad, y'all. Oh my God. We really literally like almost killed the whole pan. It was so delicious. Y'all make sure to comment down below if you're going to be trying this recipe. Make sure to let me know what you think of it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next video.